Let's see. Hmm. Well, I found a found a pretty good pizza place down the block I can go to. That's kind of cool. And man, I found some great shoes. Man, I can go grab some shoes if I want. Man, I found a great deal on skydiving, but that doesn't sound very safe. You know what I'm looking for is I'm looking for volunteers. For my youth ministry, and I thought, well, if I typed it in, if I typed in volunteers, I would I would would come up with this list of volunteers that would help me with my youth ministry. Does that sound crazy? It does, doesn't it? Well, it is crazy. But how cool would that be is if you could just type in the word volunteer or volunteer youth workers and you'd get a list of all the people that wanted to volunteer for your youth ministry. Well, it's probably not going to happen, but that's why we have real-time training today, and our topic is talking about recruiting volunteers right there in your local church. So, before sharing with you 6 principles that I've used over the past 20 years to recruit volunteers to the youth team, we always need to start with a question, and we need to start with why. And it's a question that I have to start with, and it's a question I wish I would have started with more, and that is the question of why. Why do I want volunteers to work with our young people? And I know some of the answers may seem obvious. Well, we need people and we have to do things. But I find that when we get to that place where we ask why, we can be a bit more specific. What roles and responsibilities does our youth ministry really need? Do they need discipline? Do they need small group leaders? Do we need uh, people just to hang out? Do we need security? Well, we might need all those things. But we got to be a little bit more specific about the roles and responsibilities we want people to have in our youth ministry. Take a few moments, look on your worksheet, put down the 4 top needs that you have in your youth ministry right now, work through it, pray through it, think through it, and we'll come back and I'll share with you some of the principles that I've used over the years. All right, welcome back, and I hope you found, I don't know if we found it easy or hard to do your 4 needs right now, but no matter what, it's going to be a good way to figure out what you exactly need before you get to recruiting. So let's start. Let's start with the 6 secrets that I've kind of used over the years. A lot of it is, once again, comes from failure, comes from a lot of the things that I've done that I did not do well, and so hopefully I can share a little bit of that with you today. The first thing you see there on your sheet here is this. It starts with a mentality. And my mentality is this. I am a bit self-delusional. In doing that, I've created a way for me myself to think. Number one, everybody likes me. Now I know that's not true necessarily, but in my mind, I go, look, I'm the greatest guy on the planet. Why wouldn't people like me? I want to talk to people. I want to be engaged with people. And so that's the first delusion. The second delusion I teach myself is this, that everybody wants to help me. And so why not? Why wouldn't people want to help me? Why wouldn't people want to buy into the cause? And why wouldn't people want to help young people? And why wouldn't people want to perpetuate the faith of the next generation? So those are 2 things that I have just convinced myself of. Whether they're true in reality or not is irrelevant. But I have taught myself that everybody is on my team. It doesn't matter who it is. Pastors on my team, janitors on my team, secretaries on my team, and those may be in reality somewhere furthest from the truth. But if I draw lines and say that person's not going to help me, or that person's not going to help me, or this isn't going to, they're not going to work with me, then I am slowly dwindling my pool of people that I can actually invite, because I have limited myself by believing that they don't want to help me. So I won't ask them. And if I don't ask them, then I'm probably not going to get it. So my pool shrink, and that's where we get into trouble, where we only have a small well to draw from, and we constantly draw from it. It gets tired, it gets old, and people don't want to participate anymore. Now, because everybody's on my team, that does not necessarily mean they attend all my meetings, they come to every event, they do all those things. I put people in categories, and Doug Fields taught me this a long time ago at a session that I was at. And basically, he has 3 categories. At least when I learned it, he had 3 categories of people that I've tried to maintain through the years. And one is hands-on, second is resource, and third is prayer. Now, all the the pool of people that I collect, which is everybody's on my team, they fall in one of those 3 categories. The hands-on people are the people that I want working directly with our teenagers. Those are the good relationship people. They have teaching skills, they have motivational skills, any of those things. And those are the people I want to meet with on a regular basis who are good that I can feed into and do those things. The second group of people I have are resource people. Resource people are people that have houseboats. They have condos on the beach. They have a pool in their backyard. Those are people who, regardless of whether they have teenagers or not, they have resources that the youth ministry could be able to tap into, and they can help provide something. Those are great for Disciple Now weekends, or weekend retreats, or things like that, that people would like to participate in, just to kind of get a view of what kind of kids we have. And I always like to do that, use people who are not necessarily directly affiliated with the team, so that people could have a glimpse, a look into our youth ministry and the kind of kids that we minister to. And the third group of people are prayer people. I recently had this come up. Somebody had mentioned to me about. I think I heard a speaker say that he's got a little old lady in his church right now. He's got 35 people right now praying for his meeting, and praying for this service, and praying for this camp, and all those things. And I began to think to myself, I don't use the people in our church who really know how to pray, people who really are just super committed to it. Now, I know we all pray, but those people in your church. The people who head up the morning prayer walk, or the evening prayer vigil, or the seniors prayer meeting, or whatever that may be. You know who those people are. And what a great way to get to them involved is giving them maybe pictures and names of the kids that you really want them to pray for, or whatever program you're doing. And I recently committed those things to some of our prayer people, and be honest with you, some things have radically worked out because of that. And so you have to learn to trust your prayer people. So remember, everybody's on your team. Don't discount anybody. Just remember to put them in the places that you think they're going to fit best, and it's going to work best for your youth ministry. The second secret that I have, that I use in recruiting, is that I recruit people to a vision, not a task. In other words, I don't ask people if they want to be a counselor. I don't ask people if they want to do a job for me. I always try to phrase the question and says, look, if I'm doing a concert, I say, look, man, we want these kids to have a good time, but we want them to be safe. Would you be security for that concert? Or I'll say, look, hey, we're going to camp. It's the most powerful week of the year that we ever have. And I need some facilitators, some counselors that'll come and be a part of that week, so kids can have the greatest opportunity to know God, to be impacted by God, and to have that. In order to have that, I got to have great people. Would you be a part of that? And so, in phrasing some of the tasks that you have, some of the things you have to try those, rephrasing those menial tasks, those menial things that you really need done. I don't mean lie. God forbid we should lie about youth ministry, but you know what I'm saying. Rephrase it in a way where it really it speaks to something else inside of the individual that would cause them to say, you know what, I really want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of what's going on there. So be sure to rephrase the task and put them in vision speak, where people can hear it, understand it, and be a part of that. The third thing is recruit specifically. In other words, if you say to somebody, I want you to come in and set up chairs. Would you come in and set up chairs every week? And of course, you rephrase that by saying, in my previous point there, saying, look, hey, look, listen, I got a ton of stuff to do on Wednesday. I got some things going on. Would you come in? I think we're going to have some extra kids here tonight. Would you come in and just straighten up all the chairs? Now, whether you're telling that to a student or an adult or whoever, it still has to make sense to them, and it still has to have a cause to it, and a vision behind it, because you're helping them be a part of something bigger. So in looking at that, when you recruit specifically, setting up chairs is very specific. When you phrase it that way and you say, look, I want you to do this. Then there's the other part where you say, look, I want you to hang out with kids. Well, that's not very specific. What do you want me to do? When do you want me to hang out with kids? How do you want me to hang out with kids? Where do you want me to hang out with kids? So try to be as specific as possible the tasks that you're going to be giving them, because the more they know, the worst thing that can happen is that a volunteer doesn't know exactly what they're supposed to do, when they're supposed to do it. So be as specific with their role as you can be, and they'll be thankful for it because nobody wants to go into a situation where they don't know what's going on. The fourth thing that I would tell you about recruiting volunteers is that you make their time matter. Make their time matter. Probably the worst sin I've ever committed was wasting the time of talented people. I would have people come in, join my team, and and it was me up there blowing and going, and then I relegated very talented people, good people who could really probably do a better job than me. I made them disciplinarians, or I made them sit behind kids or sit next to kids and keep kids quiet, or crowd control, or whatever that is. And you know what, that will only go for so long, because the volunteers that you have and the volunteers that I have dreams, goals, aspirations, maybe, of doing something, and us as leaders have the opportunity to help create that, help bring them along and bring them apart. And really, we're in the process of always giving away what we have, always giving away jobs, roles, responsibilities that we have, and giving it to people who, quite frankly, would do a much better job of it. So be sure that you're using the people that you have right now correctly. Challenge them, give away some of the stuff that you really like to do, whether it's preaching, whatever that is, and give somebody else a shot at it. And I'm sure that you're going to come to find out it's very liberating. It's very fun to give those away and watch other people grow. The fifth thing that I would encourage you to do this is bless and reward those who help you, and your reputation will spread. If you're known as a taskmaster that only takes and does not reward or does not give back to them, people, that word's going to spread. If you're known as a person that rewards your volunteers for being a part, going to camp, whatever that is, that reputation will spread as well. So you're always perpetuating the fact that, look, that not only is the youth ministry a giving ministry, but that you as a person are giving as well. And so I would encourage you to, after a camp, have some gift cards ready, or take volunteers out to eat on a regular basis as your budget allows. You may want to put that in as part of your budget as a whole, volunteer blessing, or whatever you want to use with that. Or if you simply know, what your volunteers' favorite stuff is, their favorite restaurant, their favorite candy bars, their favorite anything, and make a little gift package for them and say, hey, this was under $10, or whatever it is, and you bought all this stuff, you put it in a basket, said, here, I want to give this to you. I know you like this stuff, and I want to thank you for being a fantastic volunteer on our team. The last thing is this, is that you need to, we always, as youth workers, we're always on the prowl, I think, for fresh meat, right? We're looking for the new volunteers. We're always living, and that's our 6 point, is living on the offensive. I live in the Southeast, in Alabama particularly. And SEC football is just a madness, absolute madness. And so there is, I don't care what the NCAA says, everybody's always recruiting. There's always recruiting going on. There's always phone calls. There's always things being happening. There's always something going on there. And I think we, as youth workers, always have to be on the offensive. We're always looking for new areas of growth, new areas to be able to add somebody to our team. So some of the areas that I look in, as I look at, obviously, our guest list, people who have visited our church, and on the back of our cards, people mark down on their cards. They say, look, this is my first visit, and I'm interested in such and such. Well, I try to make sure that I review those cards, and I find out who is interested in what, and then I try to make a connection with them. Over something, I say, look, I noticed that you filled this out, and it really becomes a permission-based relationship, where they've basically said, look, I want to be a part. Will somebody contact me about that? I look at my pastor's class for new members. I look at all kinds of different places within the church, different other ministries, people who are coming out of ministries, people that are going into other ministries. And so I really try to be a part of various ministries in the church. I'll go to, it doesn't matter whether I like things or not. I'm going on a recruiting trip. So that means if I'm going somewhere and doing something I don't really want to do with a group of people I really don't want to do it with, it's irrelevant. I'm there for a recruiting trip. I'm looking to be a part and do those things. Now, there are some things I enjoy. Obviously, I go and hang out with the men's ministry. I go, and maybe go to the seniors luncheon, things like that, because I'll go into areas that I really feel like there are some people in there who can use their gifts and talents. Although they're not on my permanent team or have to attend all these meetings, they are a part, and they can help pray. They have resources, or they can be hands-on people. And those people are all over our church if we'll just look for them. But we're always in recruiting mode. Well, those are the six principles, the six tips that I have for you today. I hope they were helpful for you. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. And I look forward to another opportunity. If you have a suggestion for real-time training that you would like me to cover, if it's in my wheelhouse, I'll be more than happy to help address that and go with it. I don't know everything. There's a few things I know, and so I'll try to focus on the things I do know. And if you have a question and I know somebody who does it better, I'll be more than happy to pass it along to them and let them address it for you. So thank you for being a part of real-time training. If there's anything I can do, you can always hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter at Paul Turner 2. You can always just hang out, go to my website at thediscipleproject.net, and join us next time for another opportunity of real-time training. Be blessed.